right. Let's see what happens.
Yeah, we here, bro.
We
Are you
live?
ready?
Mm-hmm.
Let's do it. Tyler, I'm gonna let you go ahead and take the lead on this because you have a special relationship with Terrell Ramey. So I'll let you take the lead.
All right. Um, man, I don't even really know where to start for the people that are here. Let a couple more people get in here. Um, but we're here with Terrell Ramey, program owner and director of Ramey Basketball and community outreach director of Partner Ritter College Prep. How you doing today, Coach?
I'm good, man. Appreciate you guys having me. How are you?
Good, good. Before we went live just a couple minutes ago, we had talked about uh, this possibly one of the first interviews that you've done in the city. I appreciate you for letting me do this, but first I got to dive into it. How I get this?
Well, people who know me, there's a lot of questions about me, and everybody wonders, what motivates me, what am I doing, what motives I have. A lot of questions about me, but I'm a guy that likes to stand behind the scenes and let my work do the talking for me. So I've always just kind of refrained myself from being a face feature. I just like to be curious, but love the respect of people acknowledging the finished product. So what brought me here today is a lot of respect for you two guys, man. We got to respect each other in the community, and you guys are out here grinding, and we're in some rough times right now. So I was like, why not? I love to tell my story, answer some questions that a lot of people would love to have, and go forward that way.
Sounds good. Well, you said let's talk about your story. I want to get into that, and let's get straight to it. Uh, who is Terrell Ramey? Where is he from? And how did you end up in St. Louis, man?
Well, a lot of people don't know I'm not from St. Louis. I'm from Boston, although I've been here pretty much the majority of my life. I graduated from Roosevelt High School, played ball, basketball, and baseball. I'm different, man. I wasn't this all-state dude that's running around town bragging on his stats and his accolades. I was more of a baseball player than basketball player, but I always had a passion for helping people and kids. And my vision was started really with my mom. My mom worked 2, 3 jobs to raise 3 kids by herself, so she sacrificed a lot. And I see that a lot in today's society. So I really just wanted to give back and help motivate and be a positive male role model to youth. So that was my passion, and it just grew.
Um, you had a scouting service, right? One of the biggest, probably in the Midwest. We talked a little bit about this yesterday when I talked to you. Speak about how that kind of started and how it kind of finished as well too.
I couldn't hear you, kind of broke out. You said what?
I said, talk to us a little bit about how your scouting service had started and what kind of was the final string on how it kind of closed down as well too.
Well, in this thing, man, I started a long time ago, over 20, 25 years ago. So I'm an old head in this. And throughout the process, you just look at and try to find innovative ways to help kids. So one of the things in talking and networking with coaches around the country, it was more so the knowledge of a lot of coaches outside of Missouri that was feeding me and doing things that were innovative, like in New York, in Florida, LA, you know what I mean, Chicago, bigger cities. So when it came to basketball, St. Louis has always seemed to be behind the 8 ball, wasn't getting a lot of credit. So I would just get the advice of others and see what they were doing and innovatively do it here. And hopefully that it can help spark our kids and our community as well. So one of the things of many, we started a scouting service. I got the advice from a colleague, and it grew. It grew big. I started a website, Ramey Basketball. A lot of people kind of remember my team's first name was St. Louis Falcons. I transitioned it to Ramey Basketball to power the name. So therefore that people can really drive force behind the name and things of that nature, and can have a longer lifespan. So therefore, um, networking with college coaches and things of that nature and pushing kids. A college coach told me, said, man, you give me more information than I'm paying others for. You need to really do this for a living. And I said, nah, that ain't my motive. I'm not trying to get paid off for helping kids. It was like, nah, man, your service is valuable. Because I was telling coaches about kids that I wasn't even touching because of, like you do, Tyler, just really just want to see kids kind of prosper. So what happened is, I took the coach's advice And I started a scouting service, and it grew and grew and grew. So I think it maxed out with about 300 schools subscribed, over 300 schools subscribed at one time. But then the NCAA kind of mandated a law that you can't run an AAU program and have a scouting service because of, the illegal antics that was going on with it with a lot of others. So therefore, I had a choice to make. Was it to turn my back on the kids or keep the scouting service going? But I love coaching and I love my program, so I stuck foot with that.
Sounds good. The program, you transitioned into that. Speak about when that program, your AAU basketball program, was started. And a lot of people don't know, I don't think, but most of the top guys, not all, but most of the top guys in St. Louis have come through your program. Speak about how that got started and, what kind of made you get this program started, man?
I go back, man. It was 96, man. I was doing a teacher intern at a middle school. And it was at Fanning Middle, actually, in South St. Louis. And their little mascot was the Falcons. So therefore, a friend of mine, Charlie Bean, asked me to help him select a team. And we went to the gym, and it seemed like every boy from 6th, 7th, 8th grade was in that gym trying out for one team. And it made me kind of remember when I was in high school. And again, I wasn't a big time player, but I traveled in circles and thought I was okay. So I remember trying out for the predominant teams here. And it wasn't like now where you got all these teams. It really was just one, maybe two back when I played. And we, that trial had about 200-300 kids in it for a one-day trial. And it was unfair because it was like, there's no way you can assess and pick the right 12. You're going to hit a miss and leave some kids and some people kind of heartbroken. And it kind of played back that time at Fanning. Like, wait a minute, man, you got 80 kids in here for a 1-2 hour trial. It's not fair. Let me get the ones you don't want. And I did that, and I built from there. And it started with middle school, but then as we practiced, it was an open gym for high schoolers afterwards. And high schoolers were like, man, you dope, man. You're doing a good job, man. Can you coach us into something? So I was like, why not? So I researched and like, you know what? I'm just going to do an AAU thing. And I did it, and it grew. We had some local success. And the next thing you know, like 15 kids turned into 50 and 40. And like, I'm like, man, let me grow. So I started doing multiple teams. I started getting kids from Belleville, from Herculaneum, and, St. Charles. And it just grew and grew and grew. And then I had to, try to get as much help as I can to help as many kids. And now, we're predominantly strong in the middle school, and we build them all the way up. So that's where your question of a lot of top players over the past 7-8 years have kind of grew through the program, especially at the middle school ranks when they're kind of, I'm not going to say raw, but they're at their first beginning of true exposure success. And the secret ingredient, it's not nothing but hard work and determination. And I'm a full accountable coach that always pushes kids to the max. So, a lot of people on the outside looking in be like, man, Coach Ramey's a hard butt. He's hard. It's tough on the kids, man. A lot of parents can't handle it. But at the end of the day, the end result is always there. My kids are going to be winners, and they're going to do whatever it takes to win. I'm an old school coach that motivates and pushes kids and holds them accountable. And that's nothing but life skills, and that's what I'm
about. You spoke about being hard. So now we're going to kind of transition and get a little bit in. A lot of people say you hard on your son, Courtney, right? But he's been able to be successful. Speak about how you feel about to the people that say that you're hard on him, but also the way you parent him.
Yeah. Again, when you're on the outside looking in, I had several parents who, before they joined my program, thought I was a jerk, thought I was just this ruthless dad that only cared about his kid. Just was all about that. A couple things I'll point out. My program started before my son was even born. I ain't talking about a year or two. I'm talking about years. So he wasn't even in the forefront of basketball. It was really my vision. But I never wanted to coach my son. I've always thought that would kind of tarnish our relationship. So I always tried to push him off on other coaches. And there's several that coached him before me. And it was actually my son's idea. He came to me and he pondered a question on me that I couldn't answer. And I had to respect to this day. He said, how do you coach other kids, but you won't coach your own? And I said, man, how can I answer that? So looking at it, we had a heart-to-heart. I said, well, if I'm going to do this, you got to realize I got to be harder on you than anybody that walk in the gym, because if I can't get out of my own kid that I'm expecting to get out of others, what point am I? So you got to be first in every suicide, no days off. You got to work harder than everybody. I said, but here's the caveat to this. It's going to make you a ball player. There's going to be times you're going to hate me, and I'm going to push every button in you, but it's going to make you the ball player that you say you want to be. And he's been through a lot. You know, people seen the story, you know, it don't get harder than burying your grandmother and your mom. So therefore, he's been through the mud. So what I give him is just the visual that you all see, but he's receptive to it and he's grown to it. And that's what motivates him. It pushed him. So it kind of worked. And I'm thankful because, you know, he could have quit. He could have just, you know, been mad and just said, man, I don't want this. But he always wanted it. He always met me right at my peak. And he brought the best out of me, actually, as a coach and as a dad. And the one thing I'm proud of is not all the accolades. I love all the accolades and all that, but the time spent, you know, as a father, I didn't have a father. So therefore, those road trips, those gym hours, all that, that's the piece that I love the most. The fact that I got to see my son and be there with him throughout this process is a blessing.
You mentioned something that was a very impactful moment that was a transition in his life when Courtney lost his mom and his grandma. How did that help bring you guys together? And what was the thing that you did to help him understand to stay focused on what was at hand?
Always put them first in all your thoughts and everything you do, because they're always looking down on you and you're living through them. So if it was a bad decision that I can't help you get out of, like, as you know, kids are always peer pressuring into drugs and making wrong decisions, hanging with the wrong crowd. I always echoed in his mind that your mom and your grandma's looking down on you. What would they think? So live through them. So make them very positive. And we charted out, you know, several things that they wanted out of him as a youth before they left this earth. And that was to graduate from college, be the best kid. You know what I mean? Don't get caught up in the stereotypes that are out here for young Black males. And those things that Courtney's always kind of lived by. You went to school with him, Tyler. You know how Courtney moved. He didn't move with a crowd. He didn't look for the attention that a lot of other people did. He's a silly kid, and he's a kid. People don't understand that until you're around him. He's like me. He doesn't trust easy. But when he trusts you, he's fun. He's gonna joke, be the life of the party. He's gonna do everything like that. But he's going to move in a way that's different than a lot of others because the way he was brought up. So the way it brought us closer was, you know, all he had was his dad, you know what I mean? So therefore I had to be everything, you know, and, you know, the toughest part was to make sure he got that sentimental side because I'm such a hardcore dude. But at the same token, you know, it was just a blessing, you know, it was an unfortunate blessing because nobody fathomed losing his mom and his grandmother, but it made me a better dad because I had to step all the way up.
You shielded Courtney away from a lot of different things, which I thought is the reason where he is today. You spoke about me not going to school with him. He didn't have a phone at the time, didn't really have social media like that. Speak a little bit about kind of why you did that and kind of help other parents on a way of how do you gauge your son and directing him towards getting him to the ultimate goal, and that's, you know, go to school for free.
Well, God works in mysterious ways, man. Again, I was recruited for baseball and played baseball in college and, you know, walked on and played a little basketball. But again, I was not that good. I was average. But through this coaching process and building relationships and watching so many kids before my son make it and not make it, I understood the value of the process. So I kind of, from afar, understood what distracted kids, what motivated kids, what pushed kids. So I kind of formulated a secret recipe of what I acknowledged through past players, through reading books and stories and all that. And as a dad, just as a parent, even if basketball wasn't there, I did it with all my kids. That at the same token, I think social media is a distraction. I think cell phones is a distraction. I was like, what do you need a cell phone for? I tell my little one now, you're 10 years old, you're 11 years old. Everywhere you go, there's a phone. Like the only thing that you can do is get it distracted or in some trouble. And I get it. The times have kind of changed where it's socially equitably corrected to have one, so you're not disabled your kid away from society. But I just always looked at it as a distraction. So I said, if you focus on your school, you focus on your craft, you don't have time for that. You know what I mean? We're not looking for no pats on the back. That's gonna come with your work. So therefore, like, I just kind of just told them that, you know, let's focus on this and that stuff will come later. And that's the same thing that I'm on now as far as with all my kids. You know, don't be in a rush to be something that you're trying to be. It's a process to it and work and get it. So yeah, Courtney didn't get a cell phone until he was about 16. Courtney didn't get a social media until he still doesn't have Twitter. You know what I mean? Facebook. So he didn't get that until his sophomore year. And to me, he was a high profile basketball player. It was real distraction from haters, fans, girls. You know how it is. There's only one way it can work out, and that's bad most of the time. So I just like, man, and luckily he bought into it. He didn't sneak into it. So
Right. The son was a high profile player for a while, right?
Hold on, wait.
Yep.
I want to talk about something real quick. He said the process, and I'm big on the process because you can't get up to the second floor from the bottom step to the top step. It's a process. Talk about one of the key factors in the process.
The key process, a couple of them, humbleness is one of the key, and your work ethic. And you can't have motives. You can't cheat it. You can't cheat it. I tell my kids now, I love coaching the middle schoolers, man, because they're right in the beginning of that process. So therefore, if you're trying to get across the street, you got to go straight. You know what I mean? You can't cut no corners and make it shorter. Work through that process. You'll appreciate it more. You know what I mean? It's an old saying that, you know, a person that doesn't work hard for their money spends it easy because he doesn't value it. But a person that's working 12 hours a day, coming home back broken and working hard is going to value that earnings like crazy because he trusted the process. You know what I mean? Of work, humble, humility, all that. You know what I mean? If you got motives in this, you doing it for somebody else, or you're doing it for fanfare, or you're not doing enough, you're not going to get what you need to get out of it. I mean, all the greats say the same thing. Jordan, Kobe, you know, every great and everything says the same thing. So why does that not work for you if this is something that you want? You can't just wake up and say, hey, I want to be a pro, and it just happens. No, you got to be great in every area. Your academics, your character, your work ethic, and your humbleness. And those are the key things. And that's why I was so blessed to not let social media corrupt my kids like that.
Courtney's been a high profile kid since middle school, right? How did you continue to bring him back down to earth when he doesn't have social media? So the people around him are telling him how great he is, like at school and things of that sort. How do you keep him humble?
He looked up to me. Again, what he's been through, and being basically both parents for a long time. He always his one motive was always to get kudos from me. He always wanted to satisfy me because he sees that I believe in him and what I mean to him. So it never was enough. If you had 30, I'm like, hey man, good game, but you missed 4 free throws. You had 2 turnovers. You got to fix this. So everybody's heard these stories before, but people are scared to challenge their kid in this way. Everybody wants it, but they're scared to challenge their kid, so they try to make it easy and comfortable for them. And that's one thing I've never done. So therefore, the one thing I've always loved in coaching my own was I can push him better than anybody else can because I'm his dad. And that's the motive that can nobody take away. And the beauty of that is them other 10, 11 kids that was with him all them years got pushed the same way. And that's why you see the results like they are. And guess what? The kids before him and the kids after him get pushed the same way. And now resources are just opening up more and more. So therefore, this process is becoming a lot more easier. But a lot of parents are scared to trust that process and push their kids and hold them accountable and keep them humble. They just want the accolades and they want to circumvent the work. And that's a problem.
Almost like living through the kid through the accolades in a way.
Yeah, man. Like you can have all the accolades, man, but at the end of the day, I appreciate that work. Like, man, I've won so many trophies and tournaments, man. I don't get in those pictures, but you know what I love the most? The practice, the development piece. That's the best piece for me because that's the process.
Yeah.
So let's get back to that work. How do you feel? You've been around for a long time. How do you feel about other AAU programs in the area? Do you support them? What are your thoughts on those?
I got much respect for everybody, man. Anybody who's helping kids, I got 100% respect for them. I mean, this is a political game we're in, so I get it. But at the same token, at the end of the day, I'll never not respect people helping kids. The problem was, the problem now is it can go beyond that, and that's the issue that's out there. But the helping the kids piece and giving kids avenues, man, kids are dying every day, especially young males. So therefore, if you're giving them an avenue to get up out of here or to be active, then I salute you 100%. The trainers, the coaches, everything, because our kids need it. Now, the political side of stuff and the stuff I see has kind of got ugly over the years. That stuff is different. That's different. But I salute all the AAU programs, and I support them. I support them heavily.
How does it feel when you got a kid in your program from middle school, right? You've been grooming them, and then all of a sudden you get close to the finish line, and then he's gone. How do you have that conversation with parents, but also how do you deal with that?
I've had it happen, several times. And again, I'll give you two answers to this. Respect is a main thing with me. I give it. I'm consistent. I'm gonna be me every day. I'm not gonna be chatting on the phone with you. I'm not gonna overhype you. I'm gonna be who I am. And I just ask people to give me that respect back. I can't hold you hostage. I don't own you. It's just like with a woman. Like I tell people, if they feel that you're not enough, then you have to respect that. I believe my craft, so therefore, if the door closed somebody else, I'm looking for somebody else, and that goes down. I don't do it that way, and things that nature. But ultimately, it hurts because you build that relationship with kids and families, and you build them up over years, and they're gone. So I would be refrained to say that it hurt. Nobody wants a thing in life. That's just the facts. But at the same time, get it. Like you say, they want to touch that first, man. They want it, and I'm not. I get it. I get it. Like,
you're breaking up a little bit. Hold on 1 second. Say that last part again. Say that last part again.
I can hear you. Can
you hear us?
Hello?
Yeah, I can hear now.
Yeah.
Hello?
Yeah, can you hear us, Coach?
I can hear him.
Okay. Yeah, no. Another thing is I want to ask the $1 million question because I was curious.
I can hear you, Tyler.
Hello? Yeah, we hear. Can you hear me?
Hear him.
We may have some technical difficulty with Terrell's side.
You going out too, Dory? Hello?
Give us 1 second.
1 second. 1 second.
I got you now, D.
Are you good? Okay.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
I think you're good.
Yeah, I got you.
All right, good. Yeah, no, I said I want to ask the $1 million question because we talked about getting to the finish line. Was it a thought about ever letting Courtney play with the Eagles at all, just because the EYBL and things of that sort? What kind of went through your mind? Did you think that was an option, or was it never really an option for you just because you knew the platform that you had and the scouting service and all of that? I kind of want you to talk a little bit about that.
It never was an option, and that's not a discredit to them because I respect the process they have, respect the program they have. Their program in St. Louis, you know what I mean? Been that way since I was a kid. So we're all trying to kind of afloat, but at the same token, no, it never was because I trust my son and I trust myself. The relationships I had, people understand. Myers Leonard played with me, and he signed with Illinois when he was with me, and I can go on and on. So therefore, I bet on my own kid and myself before I bet on somebody else. So therefore, and I had a program. And I believe in this motto. If my program is not good enough for my own kid, how can it be good enough for anybody's kid? And that's the thing that makes a whole lot of sense to me. So therefore, no, it never was an option. And that's not a disrespect to them at all because
no, sure.
I understand the benefits of that, but no, I have my own program.
So in your own program, let's talk about, because a lot of people only know EYBL. If you're not a real basketball, core person, all you can see is EYBL, and maybe you see a little bit of Adidas now that it's gotten more, bigger. But talk about your Your
I had to
process.
get the connection back in. Hear me? Top.
Go,
Yeah, your connection kind of bad. I don't really know what's going
Yeah.
on.
This point again.
I think it may be the connection. When you had it that one way, yeah, like that way, I think it was a little bit better. Okay.
I can't make out. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's my phone or yours.
I don't know either. But
I
talk,
heard nothing.
you can't
Tyler,
hear
can you
nothing?
hear me?
We can hear you. I hear you fine. I don't know.
I think it may be the
Just can't
phone
hear.
connection.
It's not working.
Yeah, that might be better. Can you hear me now?
Can't. It's quiet. I hear you a little bit, Tyler. Say something else.
Hello.
Hello?
Can you? We might have to. We
I
might
can't
have
hear
to. We might have to go back. We have to like stop it and then re.
That's cool. We'll do that.
Okay.
Mm-mm. Bad connection.
Yeah, I don't know what happened.
I think it's actually you got it on Wi-Fi at all?
We still on live, D.
I can hear you. I can't hear you all.